with pictures of family and told a story about each person as they looked at it together. She brought tactile sensory dolls and calming blankets in the hope that it would provide some comfort. She also got to know every staff member and the other residents and was fully involved in her day-to-day care. She was even there the day my grandmother died, quietly lying in her bed after her organs shut down. I occasionally asked her about her feelings and memories of this horrible 2-year experience. I wondered how she felt about her relationship with her mother and her own thoughts about her own mortality. She always focused on one thing. She said, "I'm so angry at my sister. She was never there to help out with our mom." Every time she spoke about it, you can tell she felt this deep bitterness about how her sister behaved. When I suggested she talk to her sister directly and honestly, she said, "Eventually, time will blur these feelings." She was right. If you ask her about it now, 17 years later, the hard feelings have faded. Time did blur the feelings, but at what cost? How much time was lost? How much damage to the relationship was caused by the resentment eating away at her for all those years? I've been thinking about this idea of holding on to resentment rather than repairing a relationship as I prepared for the high holidays. For most of us, this holiday is about asking for forgiveness for transgressions. However, there's another step to making amends. It's the meaningful reflection of figuring out what emotions we are holding on to and how to begin the process of letting go. This is the work of Elul. Elul is the last month of the Jewish year and the final month prior to Rosh Hashanah. It is when we spiritually prepare for the high holiday season with reflection and repentance. The hard work of Elul is when we make a concerted effort to repair the damage to others that has resulted from our transgressions. It is more than just asking or giving forgiveness. It's about taking a deeper look at your relationships and how your behavior has impacted them. Before this year, I honestly had not given much thought about the month of Elul. I knew it was centered around introspection and thinking about where you stand and where you want to go. But I never reflected deeper than asking for forgiveness for my own wrongdoings and making myself a better person. So what is it about this Elul that is different for me? Last year, my daughter called from university asking for advice about her good friend who really hurt her feelings. My daughter had trouble sleeping, was unable to do her schoolwork, and couldn't eat because she was so upset about the situation. I saw this as a teachable moment. How was I going to advise her to resolve conflict and repair relationships rather than hold on to resentment? My first thought was about how my mom dealt with the situation with her sister. Time will blur the memories. Was that the advice I was going to impart to my daughter? Sure, it may have been easier, but it didn't feel right to suggest that she do nothing except allow time to pass until she forgets. Perhaps not knowing the advice she needed made me think that it was time to look closely at my own relationships and figure out how to make reparations. Taking a deep look at your relationships and how your behavior has impacted them is not easy. It takes honesty, understanding, and empathy. Recognizing exactly how you're feeling is an important step. For me, this is the first part of the Elul work, looking inward to see what needs to change and identifying true feelings. The next step in the Elul process is to decide how you want to feel next. Yes, you may have harmed someone or felt harmed, but if you want to improve your relationships, neither holding on to your feelings nor letting the memory blur over time is healthy. Nelson Mandela once said, "Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies." Holding on to anger disrupts our lives. It distorts our relationships with others and ourselves. Identifying the patterns of your relationships and speaking directly and honestly is the only way to move forward. However, this can be really scary. You're only in control of your own actions, and you can't be sure how the other person will react. I know my mother did not want to have a hard conversation with her sister for fear of losing her. She wasn't willing to risk it. If I want to do the meaningful work of Elul, I will have to ask myself what I am willing to risk. That is a question that you need to ask yourself as you reflect on your own Elul work in improving relationships. What risks are you willing to take to repair the harm you have caused or others have caused you? I want to be clear. I'm not suggesting that once you build a bridge to those who you want to reconnect with, things will automatically be better. True forgiveness is not found in acting like nothing happened. Just because you repair the relationship, it doesn't mean it goes back to how things were before things went wrong. My daughter and a friend have repaired their relationship. However, because of her experiences, she manages expectations and maintains boundaries. Getting rid of the burden of anger and making amends with someone who has harmed you doesn't mean you weren't wronged in some way. It just means you are choosing to no longer let it consume you. As we continue our holy day of deep reflection, I encourage you to look inward and decide if it's now the time to take the risk and improve the relationships you have with others. Recognizing how you're feeling and deciding what you are going to do with those feelings is just the first part. Maybe this year, the sound of the shofar will be the jolt you need to do the hard work of Elul. Gamar Hatima Tova.
Yeshar Koach.